Foods, they should always be in your diet to help you gain muscle, recover faster, and perform better in the gym. First off, let's start with protein and high protein options that you have to maximize gains. So, when you work out, what happens is the workout doesn't actually build the muscle. The workout tears down the muscle. It's the protein that then goes in and repairs that tissue that then builds the muscle. So you can work out all the time, but if you're not eating right, if you're not hitting your protein intake, you're not going to gain muscle. So what are the main protein sources you should be going for? We know for a fact that protein from animal sources is much more efficient and a better option for building muscle. Animal protein is more bioavailable, meaning that its amino acid profile is better for building muscle compared to, for example, vegan protein sources, plant-based. Or if you look at like a bagel has protein in it, but it's probably not going to be very beneficial for you to gain muscle. So animal-based options are going to be the best. Now, this really boils down to meats, dairy products, and eggs. That's about it. If you really want to be specific and maximize muscle growth, then sticking to those is going to be pretty crucial. So options like red meat, lean or fatty, fish, white meat, poultry, you've got chicken, and actually chicken thighs. It's cheaper, comes with good fats, and honestly, chicken thighs taste so much better when you're warming them up because they just seem to retain the tenderness, whereas chicken breast seems to get a bit dried out and go a bit gross after a couple of days and heating it up in the microwave. You've got other options from meat sources like pork. However, it's quite fatty alongside other cuts. That's a good thing, just depending on what phase you're in, whether you're cutting or bulking, you might need to be careful with your fat intake. And really, that's all I would stick to. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Keep your meats as your main protein sources if you want good gains. Then when it comes to dairy, milk, yogurt. That's it. You can go with cheeses, but you're gonna get a lot of fat for cheese, which is gonna mean that your calories on cheese aren't gonna be as good to the calorie protein ratio. So you can really choose with your milks what the fat ratio is like, and you can choose with your your yogurt, what fat percent you get. So I would stick mainly to those. If you're in a bulk, having cheese can definitely help if you get high fat goals. And then eggs. Eggs are probably the best protein source you could have because they come packed with vitamins and minerals, and they come with cholesterol alongside the protein. Now, we've got to understand that eggs aren't high protein. Really aren't. You could end up eating 4 eggs and not get very much protein from that. However, they are still an incredible protein source, and they are one that should always be in the diet. Keep the majority of them whole. I would understand why you're taking the egg yolk out if you're deep in a cut. However, you still want the majority of your eggs to be whole eggs, including the yolk. Next up, let's speak about carbs. Carbs are what your body wants to use as energy. However, they deplete quite quickly. When you do an intense workout, when you do cardio, when you exert yourself, you're depleting your carbohydrate stores. All carbohydrates are stored as glycogen inside the muscles and in other places in the body, but let's just keep it simple. Now, glycogen is just a type of glucose, which is sugar. So, fun fact, all carbohydrates get turned into sugar at some point and used as energy. Now we know that sugar is a fast-acting energy source and can be great pre-workout. So taking some carbohydrates like sweet potatoes, some good rice, some quality slow digesting carbs for your meals, or oatmeal at the start of the day, and then fast acting carbohydrates like fructose, fruit, easier to break down carb sources like Weetabix, cereal. Everyone raves about Square bars, can be really, really good pre-workout. So you can get smart with your carbohydrate intake. You can take the stuff that takes longer to digest in the morning with your meals, but when you're needing that fast hit of energy, on top of that, take your faster carbohydrates, like what I mentioned prior. This can be the difference between having a great session or feeling like you're dragging your knuckles in the gym. Having a good pre-workout meal is crucial, and I would still take a post-workout meal. I would maybe increase the protein and have a higher protein base post-workout, but still with a smaller amount of carbohydrates. Because if you're working out to the proper intensity, you should feel pretty depleted and pretty tired after a workout. And if you don't increase carbohydrate stores after a workout, you might feel that you just sit on the couch, you lie down and you don't get up. You waste your time just because you're so tired and depleted after that workout. So my main carbohydrate sources are really, as I said, rice, potatoes. I prefer sweet potatoes, bit more vitamins and minerals in them. Pasta, I try to stay away from. I simply just don't like it as much. Noodles, I think is completely fine. Then going to oats, cereal for faster acting carbs, fruit I eat a lot of, and if I want to be sparing and not waste loads, I'll have rice cakes quite often. The Snacky Jacks, they're great, they taste fantastic, and they're very low carbohydrate. They're very low calorie. Fats. Let's speak about fats. So fats are a slower energy source. These take longer to burn and they give you energy throughout the entire day. The reason behind that is for 1 gram of fat, there is 9 calories, and for 1 gram of protein and carbohydrate, there's 4 calories. So, that more complex fat gram takes longer to break down in your system. Now, this is a good thing. It can mean that you don't get energy crashes throughout the day if you have good quality fats. But it also helps repair your body after a workout. It helps minimize inflammation. Now, we want to avoid bad fats and stick to good fats. Bad fats being things like getting a deep fried chips, chicken, anything that's battered and deep fried, probably not the best for you. The fats that you find in chocolates and desserts and stuff like that, you know isn't great, so you probably want to avoid those. Have them sparingly. However, the fats that are extremely beneficial are the fats found in fish, raw nuts, not nuts that are cooked and covered in loads of sugar and tasty things, but raw nuts like walnuts are excellent. You've then got nut butters, natural nut butters I would stick to, if you don't like the taste of raw nuts as much. Avocados are fantastic. Extra virgin olive oil is amazing. And then the fats that is in meat as well is also really, really good for you. So the fat from red meat, the fat that is in egg, for example, really high quality fat sources. So the way I approach fat is to keep my fat low, and I actually think, how can I have 0 grams of fat today? Really try and limit the grams of fat you get from poor quality choices, like maybe cereal or chocolate bars. Really try and limit those, and then look at, right, if I'm really low fat, what fat can I supplement that with? And out of the options I suggested, try and make good decisions with your fats, because you need to have them sparingly, however, good quality. If you don't track your fats, you'll probably find that your fats are through the roof. The last thing I want to speak about is hydration and electrolytes. Now, there's 3 main electrolytes they get depleted quite quickly when you work out and you sweat. First being sodium, salt, potassium, and calcium. Now, if you eat a good diet, calcium quite easy to get if you're having the right dairy sources. However, we need to make sure that we're getting plenty of potassium and sodium. Now, salt is considered to be a bad thing. However, that is only really when you're having salt paired with a high fat diet. And like we've already spoke about, we are trying to avoid having bad fats and keep fats in check. So having high levels of salt that is controlled and you're adding to is completely fine if you're a fit and healthy individual that isn't eating a high fat diet. When it comes to potassium, there's a couple of choices. My go-tos would be banana, leafy greens, and berries. I love berries, they're a great snack, have them constantly. So, making sure your electrolyte balance is there and good, especially if you're working out hard every day and sweating, is really crucial to make sure you don't feel fatigued, but also pairing that with good amount of water. So if you're getting 1 litre of water per 25 kg of body weight, it's a really good rule to follow to make sure you're plenty hydrated. But the truth is, see if you just look at the colour of your pee, really good indicator. It's probably the best thing you can check. If it's deep dark orange, you probably need to drink more. If it's slightly tinted, good, you're in a good range. If it's crystal clear, you might be drinking a wee bit too much and you might risk getting cramps from depleting your stores of electrolytes. However, if you know you're getting good electrolytes anyway, not too much of a risk to keep hydrated quite well. Hope this helps. Hope this helps you choose what foods you should have and the reasons behind them. Remember, keep things simple and keep things single ingredient. We want to try and aim to have as much single ingredient food in our diets as possible and not relying on hyper processed, hyper palatable foods. Your palate will change to these single ingredient foods and you'll feel much better for it. So aim for that. If you want to and you want to learn more, follow me on Instagram where I share plenty of fitness and health tips, including nutrition help. And if you've got any questions, just DM me on Instagram at Renegade Coaching and I'd be more than happy to help out.